Grad student claims her internship went up in smoke after she disclosed to the employer that she was a medical marijuana patient. Christine Callahan has now filed a lawsuit claiming discrimination against the Rhode Island company Darlington Fabrics for not hiring her. The state legalized marijuana for medical purposes in 2006, but pot is still illegal under federal law. So, does she have a case? Let's talk to some legal experts. Misty Maris is an employment attorney who is taking the side of the employer, and attorney Brian Vicente specializes in medical marijuana law and is taking the side of the grad student who is suing. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Brian, okay, so the employer said, we are not going to hire you because you smoked pot, and you say that's discrimination. Why?
I think it's a clear case of discrimination. We have 23 states with medical marijuana, 4 that have legalized marijuana. It's clear that voters don't want people discriminated against for using marijuana as medicine. So I think morally it's the wrong thing to do. But most importantly, legally, Rhode Island law specifically states that you cannot be denied employment because you're a medical marijuana patient. So I think she has a very strong case. She's bringing this case in state court where they will be listening to these claims, and I think it's it's clear discrimination.
All right.
I absolutely disagree, and the reason being, this is a case of first impression in Rhode Island. So what we need to do is look at the way cases have unfolded around the country that deal with the same issue. And in that sense, most courts have found that the employer has the right to enact anti-drug policies and to require a no-tolerance drug policy and to have those policies be abided by. And that allows them to keep people who are using marijuana out of the workplace. And that's because the federal law still calls marijuana illegal, controlled one substance.
Sure. Brian?
Well, again, Rhode Island law, which is we're in state court in Rhode Island, just specifically states that people cannot be denied employment for being medical marijuana patients. Most other states that have medical marijuana laws don't have that provision. So
well, what I think
she
we
really
need to
has
look
a very
at
strong
the Michigan
law backing her.
The Michigan statute has a similar had similar language, and the court still found in favor of the employer. Still found that federal law calls it an illegal substance, and therefore the employer has that right.
Well, and again, this is about discrimination. Do we feel like we should live in a society where sick people are punished for the type of medicine they use? Right. She stated she would not use it at work. She stated she would not bring it to work. And again, Rhode Island law explicitly protects that. So we'll see how this plays out.
I've got a statement from the ACLU in Rhode Island, and it reads like this. If employers are permitted to discriminate against those utilizing medical marijuana, then the good work done by those to enact the law will be completely undone. We cannot let this law become an empty promise. Brian, let me ask you about this question. And it's a hypothetical. I'm not referring to this particular client, but we all know there are people who are gaming the system to get a doctor to give them pot. That's just the way it is. If an employer realizes that and says, they don't really need the pot, they're just smoking pot and they're standing behind the law, don't you have a problem with that?
Well, I have a problem with employers pretending that they're doctors. At the end of the day,
what about the people who are pretending that they need medical marijuana when they don't?
There's a very small number of people pretending they need medical marijuana. The same people are pretending they need prescription drugs. So at the end of the day, in this case, Ms. Callahan has severe and crippling migraines. She stated she would not use medical marijuana at work or bring it to work, and her employer still explicitly discriminated against her.
Employers have an obligation to maintain a safe work environment, and if that includes anti-drug policies, they should be able to enact them. That's what the federal law says.
This has been a great debate, and I thank both of you, Misty and also Brian. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Folks out there in TV land, send us an email. Let us know which side you think is the right side.